Hi everybody, in this video we're going to use Minitab to find expected value, variance, and standard deviation. Let's take a quick look at our formulas. Expected value, which is the same thing as the mean, is the sum of x times the probability of x. To get the standard deviation, we're going to start with the variance. Variance is denoted sigma squared. It's equal to the sum of x minus mu squared times the probability of x. To get the standard deviation, we just take the square root of the variance. Minitab is not actually going to find these values for us with a quick button that we're going to push. Instead, it's going to help us organize the values. It can find the values of x times p of x, it can do x minus mu squared times p of x, and it can add up all those values. We just have to give it the right commands using the calculator to come out with the answers that we want. To demonstrate what I mean, I'm going to use this problem. In the probability distribution below, x represents the number of employees that call in sick after a holiday weekend. The distribution shows there's a 0.069 probability that no one calls in sick. There's a 0.117 probability that one person calls in. There's a 0.255 probability that two people call in, a 0.33 probability that 3 people call in, and a 0.229 probability that 4 people call in sick. Let's take those values and put them into columns in Minitab. Make sure you label the columns after you type them into Minitab. So let's start by finding the mean. The mean is going to be x times p of x. So I'm going to hit Calc, Calculator. I'll store my results in the next column, which is C3, and my expression is going to be x times p of x. Now we select OK, which gives us a column of values. Now we want to find the sum of these values. So I'm going to go back to Calc, Calculator. So let's clear out the expression and clear out where we're storing the result. This time I'll store my result in C4. And my expression is going to be the sum of the column we just found. So you can go over to the functions and select sum, and then we want to find the sum of C3. This gives us an expected value of 2.533. Let's type on top that C3 was x times p of x, and let's type on top of C4 that this is our expected value. Now that we have the expected value, we can work on the variance. The variance is going to have us take our outcome x, subtract the expected value that we just found, then we're going to square that number and multiply by p of x. The easiest way to do that is to first write down that our expected value is 2.533. Then go back over to the calculator. Let's store our results in C5. And I'm going to work backwards into what we're doing. I'm going to put a parenthesis to say we're going to take our value of x, and we are going to subtract the mean we found, 2.533. Then we're going to square that. You can use this caret to say square. After we find that value, we're going to multiply by the probability of x. And then we want to sum all of these values. So I'm going to come back to the beginning of the expression. You could click on the sum or you can just type sum. I'm going to do another set of parentheses to make sure it knows to do all of the operations of squaring the x minus the mean, multiplying by the probability of x, and then finding the sum of that whole quantity. So let's select OK. And notice this gave us a single value. This single value is the variance. So we'll write on top that this is variance. To get the standard deviation, we're going to take the square root of the variance. I'll hit Calc, Calculator. Then I cleared everything out. We're going to store the results in C6. We can see in our list that C6 is standard deviation. That's where we said we wanted to put this result. What we want to do here is find the square root. So go back to the functions and scroll until you find square root. We want the square root of the variance, so double-click variance. Now push OK, and it gives us 1.16401. As always, look at what it says in your assignment about how many decimal places you're going to round to. What's important is because we did this in Minitab, there was no intermediate rounding steps. That keeps the work more accurate. If you were to do this yourself and you were writing things out with a calculator, you might be tempted to round at some intermediate step, which would throw your answer off. So putting your work into Minitab makes the calculations easier, it makes sure we don't make little mistakes, and it organizes it really nicely for us.